Daniel Alanaran, aka Olantekkers, the TikTok sensation, is on the podcast. Let's go, bro.
Called me by my government name, but you know, not a lot of people are like, who the fuck's Daniel? I've put out a video on TikTok every day for the last 2 years.
I saw you as the face of JD.
Hey, we'll leave it. We'll just not talk about that one. I'm trying to stay humble with it. That's where my goal is, really, like, just to try and really take over Australia and put Australia on the map in some respect. You know what I mean? In terms of content creators and people that are respected in Australia. Took rejection, but I was like, you know what? I always had a chip on my shoulder. I was like, no, what? Fuck these lot. I'm going to keep fucking going.
Everything in life is happening for me, not to me. And then you can start to embrace what you're actually meant to be fucking doing.
You asked me what I'm going to do. Football. What do you want to do? Football. That's all I would tell you. You know what I mean? So that was the first time I realised I was like, I've got to do something else.
So that together we have clarity, direction, and success way beyond what we ever previously thought possible. Here's your host, Frankie Lee.
First things first, guys, before we get started with this podcast, do me a solid favour and subscribe to this on whatever platform you're listening to it right now. Whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I'd appreciate if you just hit that subscribe button, and it lets me know that the content that I'm putting out for you guys is hitting your ears at the right time. Much love. This podcast is sponsored by contentremoval.com. So whether you're looking to remove any images, videos, search results, fake Instagram accounts, get in touch with us at contentremoval.com. Welcome back to the Frankie Lee podcast. This is the episode that you've all been waiting for. Daniel Alanaran, aka Olantekkers, the TikTok sensation, is on the podcast. Let's go, bro. How are you?
Thanks for having me, man. You called me by my government name, but you know, not a lot of people are like, who the fuck's Daniel? Listen, but yeah, man, I'm happy to be here, bro. Thank you for having me, mate. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Welcome to my little humble abode in Peterborough.
This is a nice spot. Man. I'd be very, very happy living here. I'm not going to lie to you.
Do you know what? I never thought that me and you would do the podcast in England.
That is crazy. Because we always said, oh, you know what, we'll link up when I come Gold Coast in Australia, and just so happens that we're both in England at the same time. So like, fuck it, let's get it going.
Yeah, but I saw your mum on Instagram the other day. She was making me laugh, man. When you were watching Love Island,
mate. I'm gonna get more clips of her. Honestly, she's probably funnier than me, bro. She's just like you can't watch a show without her just chirping off. I'm like, Mum, let me just watch it. No, you can't marry this girl. Don't get a girl like that. And I'm like, Mum, this is a TV show for flipping entertainment. Like, obviously,
because you're a family originally Nigerian.
Yeah. Mum's Nigerian, dad's Nigerian. So yeah.
So like, just to give people a bit of a background into, because this is the thing, right? You do a lot of funny podcasts in Australia. You do a lot of funny skits. You've been highly successful and gone viral so many times in Australia with your content and stuff, and we'll go into all that. Yeah. But I really want to give people a bit of an insight into your whole fucking journey, really. Yeah. So like, how old were you? Born in the UK or what?
Yeah, born in the UK. Parents came from Nigeria. Both mum and dad came from Nigeria, born in Brixton in London. Yeah. And then I moved from Brixton. Well, they moved me and my brothers out from Brixton because obviously Brixton's fucking. It's terrible spot.
It's a place, yeah.
It's a very, very hard spot to grow up in. So they moved us to Luton. That's where we pretty much grew up most of our lives. So, yeah, and then just continue to grow from there. Went to school in Luton. All my boys are from Luton. People think, well, judging by what happened the other day, like, there were man chasing around each other with Rambos and that. But, you know, it's like when people say, "Oh, you come from a rough area." For me, like, you don't think it's a rough area, and I think people that live in rough areas or whatever, they probably feel the same way, where you just grew up in it, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't go around and say, oh, like, it's the ghetto. I would never say that. Because I had a lovely childhood growing up, you know what I mean? Like, it was vibes. Like, when you look back on it, it was vibes. Like, some days you were getting chased down by this guy. After school, there might have been a fight at the field, everyone's linking up. But it was like, stuff was going on, you see a fight happen there, you're like, it's like, it's kind of, at the same time, for me, I think it's character building, and it makes you who you are at the end of the day. So I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have that sort of thing growing up. You know And you can choose, and the way I see it is, you choose to go down this path, or you choose to go down that path, and then whatever path you choose determines how your life ends up. You know what I mean? So everyone says, oh, if you live in a rough area, like, you're gonna get mixed. Bro, if you just choose to go this way,
it's a different kettle of fish.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
If you choose to go that way, they think you're about that, then that's when you get caught up in it.
It's very easy though in England to go down the wrong path.
It is, but again, it all depends.
It's also very easy to not go down the wrong path if you know about yourself and where you're going.
Yeah, it all depends on your upbringing. Like, especially African parents and Nigerian parents will always instill into you, like, follow the rules, work hard. This is what you're supposed to do. Don't mix with the bad friends. Don't mix with that. Don't mix with that. Obviously, you're in control of whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, the worst thing you can do as a Nigerian child is disappoint your parents. You never really want to do something that you feel might disappoint your mom, dad. That's the worst feeling in the world.
Because Nigerian families, from what I know, because I've got a few Nigerian mates as well, they're tight families.
Yeah, tight families, and very, very, it's all about, it's not honor in a sense, but it's like very hard work is instilled into us, you know what I mean? And my mum, and I think about this before because I saw something and there's a Steve Harvey thing. I was watching it the other day, a video where it was he was talking about a grasshopper. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was kind of basically a grasshopper. If you put it was basically a grasshopper. If you put a grasshopper inside a tin jar, right, it can jump however high it wants to jump, right? But if you put it in this tin jar, it will only jump to the ceiling. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it's well, if that grasshopper has children, right? Those kids can jump as far as they want to jump, but
they're capped out.
But they're capped out. And I thought about, and I was when I was growing up, my mum didn't really say you can't do this, don't do that, do this. She was dream, do whatever you want to do, but it's gonna be hard.
So
work.
essentially, she didn't limit you at all.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Do some parents put limitations on their kids growing up, possibly to what they think is realistic? Because I was talking to my brother about that, and he was like, yeah, my best friend, basically, his mum's super realistic. So he never really thought, I can do this and I can do that, or I can do that. Because his mum's like, listen, what are the chances in that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's amazing how that statement, what are the chances in that, would clip your wings as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I realised, obviously you've seen my house and seen where I grew up, but this is a very middle class area. So for where you've probably grown up in Brixton and gone to Luton, which is kind of the ends, so to speak. Yeah. I've grown up in middle class England. Well, middle class England limits you in a lot of respects as well, because that's get a mortgage, get a house, get a job, get an apprenticeship type life. Do you know what I mean? So that's
very mundane.
Very mundane, very systemized. Whereas you were probably around you could either sell drugs or you could go and play football. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of lifestyle.
It was the whole, because of me when I was growing up, obviously every kid in England, they wanted to be a footballer. And the thing about football is that it's so hard because you basically ask an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old to make a decision of what they want to do when they are 21, 22.
Yeah.
Now, if you're 12, 11, 13, where's your mind at? You're just a kid. Really and truly, you're a kid. So to ask, you have to be, and what I always say to my clients, because when I coach, is I'm cool, you want to be a footballer at 11, 12? You want to be a footballer at 21, 22, 23? You got to make that decision at 11, 12, 13. That's how hard it is, because by the time you've matured into your teenage years at 17, 18 and think, oh, I want to be a footballer now, 17, 18. Mate, they've already told you you're not good enough. Someone else has got a contract. You know what I mean? So it's very, very tough. And then the thing that could happen, which has happened to a lot of my mates, say you do make that decision at 11, 12, 13. Yes, all right, cool. Want to be a footballer. Got to put everything into it. Everything. Going to go training, going to go this, going to do everything. They could still turn around at 16, 17 and say, listen, mate, you're not good enough. The percentage is less than 1% or 1% or whatever. So it's are you in control of everything? And that's me growing up. I wanted to be a footballer. And what it really taught me, which I'm grateful for now, is how to handle rejection, man. And I think every footballer or everyone that's played football at a decent level knows how to handle rejection or has handled it. So for me, going through life and navigating through life now is it's a piece of piss because someone tells me no, I'm like, cool, next person. If someone says no, someone doesn't like my shit, all right, cool, next one. All right, someone doesn't like this, all right, cool, next one. I'll just keep creating and keep going and keep going and keep going, you know. And I think that's the good thing about being an athlete or having been an athlete, you know what I mean? That's where I see it anyway.
Yeah. What age were you when you decided that you were going to go all in on football?
It was late for me, like, and why it's going to sound like it's not late, but I decided at 17, 18. I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to try it. Do it. Like 16, 15, I was like in the Luton Academy, you know, I was playing at Luton. I was doing a course where you train full time at Luton, trying to get a scholarship to then also go on and get a professional contract, 16, 17. And then my dad was like, there's an opportunity for you to move to the States, which is try and put myself in a different environment, but it was playing at basically a professional team in the States. So I was like, yeah, bet, let me do it. But again, I think that was the most cultural. When I moved to the States at 17, 18, obviously this is when everyone's going IB for doing those like party holidays. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm going to the States to commit to football. But it was more the culture shock, not the culture shock of what it actually takes to be a professional footballer or to try and make it. Like I don't think people these days fathom what it really takes to be a professional footballer or to get to that level, because it seems so easy. They're on TV and stuff. They show you the Ronaldos, the Messis. They show you the journeys. They show you all but what they don't show is them getting up at 6 a.m. training every single day to get there. They don't show that. No one records that. No one puts that up. You know, all you see is the other side of it. You know what I mean? So you don't really fathom when you're that age, 17, 18, 19, what it really takes to become a footballer. And then no one tells you the setbacks that you're going to take, being benched, being told your shit, being told all of that. No one tells you all of that. You've got to kind of build that up. So went to there 17, 18, played in an academy, then went to university, because in America is just really the only way you can get to playing at a professional level is to kind of go through university. So I went through university over there, which was, loved it.
Is that where you did psychology?
Yeah, studied psychology, and then obviously I was on a football scholarship, so all my education was pretty much paid for. And then when I finished that, I think about 21, 22, played obviously professionally over there in the States at a few teams, and then went over to Holland for a bit, played in Holland for a little bit, then went to Italy for a bit, played there, and then came back to the UK.
All at pro level?
All at pro levels, mostly like semi-professional pro level, I'd say. But you know what it was for me, and I think this mainly happened when I got to Australia, which we'll probably get onto later, but it was like 90, not even 90%. So you can play at a professional level, right? And everyone thinks if you're playing at a professional level, you're on like Ronaldo money or Messi, like you're on that Premier League level. You're not. You know what I mean? Like until you get to that level, you're not really on. You're on a decent amount, but it's like what I wanted or what I saw football as was this. Once I do this is going to put me in a position where I can change my parents' life. You know what I mean? So it was like, when I was doing all that, I was like, bro, I'm not getting to the point where I can change my mum's life. I can put my mum in a better position, or I can say, mum, here's 10 grand, or I can say, dad, here's this, or bro, here's this, go change it, go do this, do you want to do that? There you go. That was what I wanted to do with football. So when I saw it wasn't doing that, which I realised later, that was when like I had a massive psychological breakdown, and not almost depression, but fucking my mind was everywhere. Like I was that guy that took rejection, but I was like, you know what? I always had a chip on my shoulder. I was like, no, what? Fuck these lot. I'm going to keep fucking going. Yeah, everyone, you're Dan, you're too old. Oh, fuck off. I'm going to keep going. Yeah, Dan, you're not good enough. Fuck off. I'm going to keep going. Like, that's what my mindset was growing up, or even to that later stages of football, till I realised, I was like, bro, like, sat down and I was like, you know what? I'll tell you the story. So this is in Australia now.
Yeah.
So fast forward maybe a couple of years. Signed for a team over here, by the way. So it was league below the A-League. North Shore Mariners, decent money, like good money, like living good. But then fucking COVID hit. Fucked everything up. Then me and my missus, or at the time my ex now anyway, and I'm like 25, I'm like, what am I, 24, 25? And I'm thinking in my head, I was like, And I still got the dream to obviously get to that level where I can change my parents' life or whatever. And I'm sitting there, and we're on this farm, and I'm like, bro, I'm deep in it. So I just sat there, bang, just started crying, like just tears. Because it was like, for me, I realised I got to the point where it's like, Dan, you're never going to get to that level anymore. Like, no matter, all right, I was like computing in my head, I was like, all right, cool, 1 more year, you're going to be 26. Who the hell's going to sign you at 26 to play at this level? Like, you're not getting there, Dan. Like it's reality now. Like, from when I was 17, 18, to 19 to now, that's all I was doing, like football. You asked me what I'm going to do, football. What do you want to do? Football. That's all I would tell you. You know what I mean? So that was the first time I realised I was like, I've got to do something else. You know what I mean? Or
did you feel real like empty?
Oh, I felt terrible, empty. Like my whole half my personality was football. 90% of my personality was football. So it's like you take that away,
yeah,
which is what a lot of footballers or athletes struggle with. Which I try to tell them now is like, have something else. Not have something else to where you're falling back on, but have something else that makes you happy, that you're in control of.
When I was a professional boxing trainer, and I've worked my first world title fight, I stood there in the ring and I realised I'd leant my ladder against the wrong fucking wall. I realised that wasn't me, and I'd attached my whole identity to being that, to prove something to someone that didn't matter. So what I'm saying is, when you were there, did you realise that your whole identity was attached to this professional footballer ethos?
Yes, and that was the hard thing for me, because it was like, Dan, the guy that's playing football, or Olan, the footballer, or Olan, is doing his thing, like playing football somewhere, or not even that I was like the footballer guy, but that was my personality.
Yeah.
So it's like you strip that from you, and you deep that, okay, well, Dan, you're not the footballer guy. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, and then luckily for me, I don't know if it was God or whatever, or blessing, but I was started up the coaching thing, which I was like, all right, Dan, you can kind of put all your energy into that, right? Maybe you were meant to develop the next gen of footballers. Maybe that's why God gave you this talent or whatever, and said, this is why you went this far, so you can help the next generation. But then also TikTok started to slowly start to build, and I didn't think I had a personality for social media or whatever, but I'd always been the funny guy, or the guy that people are laughing at, or guy that's just dumb and saying stupid stuff. I'd always been that guy in my friend group. Everyone will tell you, even to this day, nothing's changed. But I never thought, and that's when I was like, you know what, let me just put my energy into this and just see what happens, you know. And that's what I tried to preach to all my young followers, or all my football followers, or all the people that know me from Olan creating football content. Like, if you go back and watch my videos, I always say, listen, put everything into football, but you need to have something like away from football that you can connect with, that has nothing to do with football, because you can't control if the coach plays you or not. Like, but bad performance. You can't control if the coach has got a grudge against you. You can't control, maybe for some odd reason they don't pick you for the 11 or whatever. You can't control you getting the leg injury. You can't control if you pass it to the striker and he doesn't score, and now you don't have an assist or something. You can't control a lot of things in football. So you need to have something that you can control if you're an athlete, because otherwise this will be your mental health, just up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's a struggle. A lot of athletes still go through it to this day. I know so many footballers that have gone through depression because of that sort of stuff, you know.
I think there's a lot of depression and anxiety and all that kind of stuff around every sport that people don't understand, because when you have to give absolutely everything to a sport to even get close to being in the top 5%.
Yeah.
The difference between the top 5% and the top 1% is massive. And then if you want to be the top, you got to be in the top 0.1%. And that top 0.1% is the hardest. Between 1 and 0.1 is fucking the hardest game in town to close the gap on, you know. And it's like you were in the top 5% in the world, right? And then to try and close the gap on signing a professional contract to get to that top 1%.
Oh, there's even a gap there, which is why you look at, there's people in the Premier. Why is there 5 professional leagues in England?
Yeah.
5 professional leagues, as in, like, you can be a professional Premier League, drop down 4 leagues,
Yeah.
still a professional.
Yeah.
And the skill gap is huge. You know what I mean? So that just tells you how hard football actually is to play, or even a sport, or even boxing or whatever, the same thing. But it's like, at the end of the day, I always say focus on what you can control. Put as much effort into whatever you want to do, but focus on what you can control, man. And that's how I live my life, really. And I'm so thankful for football, because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be in the position I was today if it wasn't for football.
Yeah, you kind of like, you had to live that life to be able to live in the life you are now. But in regards to, like, you know, how was it a massive ego death for you?
What, not playing football? What, not playing football?
Is in, like, you know, like when you're sat there and you're crying and you're having to sit with yourself and having to understand that, you know, you are going to have to pivot now, because what you thought your life should be isn't the reality of what you're living.
Yeah.
Is that
It wasn't, I don't know if it was more ego or disappointment, or like life's not fair, or the dream selling is bullshit, or that kind of thing, you know, because they always tell you, listen, man, chase your dreams and you'll get there one day. You know what I mean? But they don't tell you that what area or what's going to happen along that, or if you're going to make it in. They don't tell you what version of the dream it is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trace your dreams, you'll get there, and you think, oh, this is my dreams. Yeah, this is, all right, cool. But they don't say what version of the dream it is.
See,
a completely different version than you envisioned in your head.
I think that as humans, our vision for ourselves is way lower than what we can possibly achieve at all times. Like we think you think that your grand vision of you playing football was the vision, but I think you'll go and achieve way more than you'll ever thought you would have achieved if you'd kept that vision.
Yeah. And I deep that the other day, because I was like to myself, I was like, Dan, all right, cool. Like, I was like, and I have these scenarios in my head that I always do. And I was like, Dan, all right, cool. So say you are, I'm 27 now. So I was like, Dan, so say you achieved your dream of being a footballer, right? A professional footballer. I was only good enough, probably at my peak, to get to maybe like a League 2/League 1. At my peak, like if I was firing and a team like me and bang, that's the highest level I'm going. League 2, maybe League 1 at most, at maximum.
So you're talking, and the potential earnings of between $2 to $4 grand a week at that level.
2 to 4 grand, you probably you could take away maybe 70, 80k, maybe League 1 level. Yeah, probably maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. You know, 60, 70k, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. You would have done that for 10 years. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So you're a footballer in League 2 for 10 years. When you finish, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's
I would have to do something anyway. I would have had to have pivot. I would have had to have figured this out. So whatever I'm figuring out now, whatever feeling I'm having now,
you're ahead of the game.
I'm ahead of the game, because then, man, when they get, that's the only level I would have been able to get to. That was the only. I didn't have the gift of Ronaldo, Messi, whatever. I didn't have that gift, so I was never ever going to get to that 1% that we were talking about. I was never going to get there, no matter how much work I put in, because I was already behind. You know what I mean? So it was like, all right, I was thinking, you know what? At the end of the day, Dan, now you're in a better position. Because guess what? You might be able to set your family up for X, Y, and Z now.
And this is the most powerful thing about perception. It's like you can become this victim and live in this victim mentality where you think everything, the world's happening to you, and you can just live there, which is like you were living in that point for a period of time.
Yeah, 100%.
But then you have to accept the realization, and the realization comes as a fact of like, look, everything in life is happening for me, not to me, and then you can start to embrace what you're actually meant to be fucking doing. Because I think I'm a big believer in this myself, Dan. Right, at the end of the day, life is going to lead you to what you're actually truly meant to be doing. And if I hadn't have been through some fucking low times in my life in regards to like, oh, you know, I want to be this top pro boxing trainer. Yeah. This is my dream. Blah blah blah. If I hadn't been through all those lows and all those tears where that wasn't right for me. If I hadn't been through all that, I wouldn't be podcasting, would I?
That's true. But you don't really. You know what is? It's easy to. Not to say it now, but it's when you're going through.
When you're looking back, it's
When it's more when you're going through it that you're just like, Lord, this is the worst thing in the world. Like, all I wanted to do was just chase this dream and be this guy, and why this has happened to me, and this, that, and that. And it's like, you know what it is? For me, I'm like, I could have just fucking chose to be a dustbin man, or chose to be a carpenter, or chose to do something that required no
ambition.
Not ambition, but not me to... Yeah, ambition, but like not me to like break my back and be broke and do this and leave my family and leave my friends, and it was that, looking back at that point, it's like, well, I just done all this, and it's like I still fell short.
Do you not feel the same? Obviously, me and you've been in Australia now how long?
Almost 3 years. I'd say 3 years.
3 years, right?
Yeah,
I've been there 8, right?
8 years, yeah.
Do you not think though, from what me and you have done? I mean, I went to Australia with $6,000 and a bag of clothes, right?
Yeah.
Fuck all, mate. Fuck all.
Same. I went there with like, I think I had like $3,000 in my account. Like, barely anything.
And when you look around, what most Aussies have that me and you are surrounded by, like they have a lot of abundance, mate. A lot of abundance.
They do. I was saying this, but in terms of like, you look at Sydney, right? And I'm like, people say, "Oh, Sydney's got a ghetto," and I don't want to get into all that kind of stuff and where people come from, because there's a ghetto everywhere. There's some sort of hardship everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's like, people are like, "Oh, people are getting stabbed, and there's a hood, and this, that, and that," and I'm like, still, people can still make something of themselves regardless of their situation. So
Australia's an abundant place. Yeah. It's no doubt about that. And when I was broke in Australia in the early days, when I came back from my sister's wedding, got broke, had to all that stuff, right? I went back, had no money, sat there on the beach. It was at Christmas time. I sat there on the beach. I was watching all these Australian families, like all their abundance, and I couldn't even fucking buy myself a bag of apples, bro. Like, it's just mad, man. Because it's like it's fucking mad.
The parallels is crazy, and I don't know if the Australian people realise, but I think they do.
Yeah, I think you must. If you're Australian and you're listening to this, which you know, probably 70% of you are. Yeah. Like, I'm just telling you now, yeah, you live in the most abundantly gifted country in the world. Yeah. And you're from the lucky sperm club, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean?
For real, I'm still trying to find an Australian wife myself.
Yeah, mate. hey, that makes 2 of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
mate.
real.
That's another thing I want to tell you about. You come back to the UK, and there's a lot of beautiful things around, like, but they're hidden around. Like, but in Australia, that is abundant.
Well, I come back. I come back. You know, I'm not that I do the whole hinge thing or whatever. Not really my thing.
The hinge thing.
Not really my thing. But like, when you're swiping on Hinge in Sydney, right? You're like, fuck, decent. And I'll come back now and I'm swiping on Hinge in Luton, and I'm like, what the fuck, X? I'm like, nah, the Caliber woman is a mess.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, spoiled.
England.
You don't really realise the caliber, how high the caliber, because you're used to it.
Yo.
Then when you come back to England, you're like,
I come back here and I'm like,
hold on a second.
I came back here and I'm like, because you arrive in London, so you get a false sense of security.
Yeah.
So you arrive, you land at Heathrow, and you think, it's changed.
It's exactly the same.
This is not too bad. You might even get it out of your pocket at the airport because you're waiting for your bag, and you might have a little look, and you might go left, and you might, oh my God, it's changed. we could be on here. We could be on here. There could be. This could be it. This could be it. This could be it. Right? And then you travel out of London 2 hours.
Oh, that's the one. Bro.
And you get home, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. That's it, bro. That is actually it. I'm telling you, I think, and that's what I've noticed about being back here. I'm like, bro, the caliber of women in Australia is actually tremendously high. Like I went out and I didn't realise how spoiled I was being in like Sydney and Melbourne. I come back and I'm like, but
it's not just Australia. It's just like Australia's just full of beautiful people from all over the world. That's what I find. It's not just Australia. It's like just Australia is a lucky country because it's just full of beautiful people, right? That's the way I see it. Yeah. It's not even about it's not even about Australian. It's like
any ethnicity.
It's like English girls or any kind of. There's just a lot of beauty there, and I'm telling you now, it's got to be 3 or 5 to 1.
What, women's eyes?
Women to men in Australia, 100%. Like it just seems crazy.
I agree. I'm with you on that one.
It's just that's why when I'm like, when they're only letting in like 60,000 people a year, I'm like, yeah.
They're vetting them.
I'm like, I could just imagine the immigration department in Australia. It'll be some geezer. It'll be some Australian guy going, "Nah, mate, not you, but that one."
100%.
He's like,
if you're above a 7-8, they'll let you in.
Yeah.
Below that, I'm not sure. You might have a few issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But man,
that's crazy.
so just why did you end up in Australia then, man? Because
I've told it a few times, but my ex wanted to move. I didn't even want to go.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. She was like, she always wanted to go travelling. I
bet when you landed at that airport, she regretted that decision.
She probably regrets it now. Like, I fucking took this guy to Australia. Like, fucking look at him. It's just a crazy thing. But like, she wanted to go. She had a bit of money from her grandparents or something, and she wanted to go travelling in Australia. She always wanted to, and I wasn't really on it. Like, I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I'll think about it. She was like, I really want you to come. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me see if I can find a football team out there. And looked around. I was supposed to actually move to Melbs. The team that I was looking for was in Melbs. Then we landed in Sydney, and then I had a trial with the team in Sydney, and they were like, we want to sign you, wicked. So ended up staying in Sydney. But yeah, she was the reason why I went to start with, which is crazy. Yeah, for love, basically.
Mate, I went to Australia because I broke up with this. I was locked down with this Italian thing.
Yeah.
Right? And beautiful, and I thought I was set, mate. I thought I was set.
That was it. You was married off. You was about to.
Mate, I was fully. I'd literally hung the gloves up.
Yeah, you was done,
mate. This is how serious I was. This is how serious I was, mate. I was with this chick.
Yeah.
I went to Ibiza. Now, bearing in mind, I was meant to be there 7 days. I ended up there 11, but let's just forget about that.
Oh, jeez, man, extended the stay.
That's why she bit me.
Makes sense now. Makes sense.
But I was a well-behaved. It's so hard to be well-behaved in a place like that, bro. With the amount of oh my god.
You've done very well.
But anyway, I came back after a well-behaved 11 days instead of 7, but she cancelled me. She fucking cancelled me.
She was done.
Mate, I was fucking heartbroken. I fucking was, mate.
What, just for being in Ibiza for a couple more days, she was done?
Yeah, she was done, mate.
To be fair, that makes
those
sense.
Italian girls take no prisoners, mate.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's a very no prisoners. Anyway, so she cancels me. Mate, honestly, don't get me wrong, I was a fucking hurt man. I'm not gonna lie, mate. I was wounded to fuck. Of
course.
Best thing that ever happened to me in my life, mate. Best thing that ever happened to me.
So do you think the best and worst things come out of love?
But everything that really hurts you, you form an attachment to, is what I've learned. So you formed an attachment to football. I formed an attachment to boxing and the status of the boxing trainer thing, and you formed an attachment to the status of being this football player, right? And then when we had to break up from that, we were emotionally hurt because we had to break up from the attachment. But most people that listen to this have attachments to lots of stuff that maybe aren't the healthiest of attachments. Maybe it's a sport, maybe it's a woman, maybe do you know what I mean? In all seriousness, that's where I think things fall down, is the attachment theory.
Yeah, the attachment thing's crazy, bro. Because especially where we come from, right? So it was part of our identity. Yeah. When it's part of your identity and you're attached to it, oh Lord.
Well, that's it, because you're building a whole personality now on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff, and you're doing interviews and stuff like that, and you're becoming yourself, right? Yeah. Whereas before it was the footballer.
Yeah, it was.
It was the boxing trainer, you know. And then it's like, when you aren't that anymore, you're like, okay, who the fuck am I then?
Yeah.
Who the fuck am I?
That's the hardest thing to go through.
And how do I want to turn up? And the hardest conversation to have with yourself is to sit there on your own, from my personal experience, and be like, holy fuck, this lad has been leant against this wall for like 10 or 15 years in the pursuit of this thing. I've achieved this thing, but I had no plan of attack after I'd achieved it.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing, is like, where do you go after that? You know what I mean? Or what do you do, or how do you deal with that not the failure in some sense, but just once you've don't know who you are. You know, it's you got to sit there with your own thoughts and really figure out who you are. It's crazy. Like I went, and I'll say this openly, and I think all men should do it. They should all go through therapy.
Yeah.
Right. And not just in a sense for, oh, you're going through a lot and maybe you'll need help. No, just figure out who the fuck you are. Like, why the fuck do you do certain shit?
Yep.
Like, why the hell do you message loads of girls? Or why the hell do you always want to sleep with girls when you just come out of a breakup? Or why the hell do you act a certain way or behave funny when you'll have to do hard work? Or why the hell, like, just figure that out. Like, why are you like that? You know, and that's what therapy taught me. Like I was always moving around when I was younger and I was away from my family. Like 17 to leave, obviously I went to America. My dad lives over in America, but I wasn't really that close to my dad then. So 17 for me to leave your cool area, all friends are going out partying, doing whatever. To leave that area, right, in your head, do you know how hard that is to do at 17, 18?
100%,
you know?
man.
And then from there to always be traveling around, like I've already got some issues because I'm used to just moving around. So it's like, oh,
because when you're in one place too long, then you feel like, oh, fucking hell, I've got to move. I've got to move.
Yeah. So it's like, and then it's like, oh, well, Australia was the first place where I was like, oh, you know what?
Australia has literally changed my fucking life, my mindset. It's why I love the country so much and love the people so much, and why I'm trying to build this podcast for something beyond me, to try and put Australian podcasting on the map on the global stage, right? Yeah. The whole reason and purpose behind that is because I feel like an indebted gratitude to the fact that they've taken they took guys like me and you that didn't have much and allowed us a place to be able to build something that means so much to us. Does that make sense to you? Like,
that's the key. Like it actually probably makes me emotional sometimes when I like post something and I'll be like, oh, I'm leaving Australia, right? And just the amount of love that I get, and I'm just like, these people actually really feel some type of connection with me, and it's like, why would you give that up?
I realise that with it. It's like when I look at the people that asking me if I'm okay in the UK or asking how I'm doing, every one of them is Australian, bro. Like there's a couple of English that live in Australia as well. Yeah, right. But there's a couple of English in the UK that my close ones, there might be 10 or 20 that message me in that, and then they're good and they're good to me in that. But like I just can't describe how much Australia means on a personal level to me. Like I was thinking to myself, because you know, like when you start getting on a little bit and you start doing a little bit you start to think after 8 years, mind you, you start to think to yourself, maybe I'll go Dubai, or maybe I'll go America, or maybe fuck me, like build something big in Australia.
Build a core first, you know, and that's where my goal is really, like, just to try and really take over Australia, and put Australia on the map in some respect, you know what I mean, in terms of content creators and people that are respected in Australia for making content, and then people from the UK will hopefully come to Australia and say, oh, this content creator is here, or I'll fly there, or whatever, you know. So that's really my goal with it, you know. I've got a lot of plans, and where, like I always say, it kind of goes back to football, is my mindset in content creation is probably not the same as like an average content creator, because for me, I see it the same as football. So I see me coming down, sitting with you now. For me, this is like a match, or it's a game, or it's training, because I'm learning my craft. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting the hours in. I'm learning the art of conversation,
doing the reps.
You know, and it's like when I get jumped behind the camera, the same thing. I'm getting the reps in. I'm training. Oh, okay, this does well, that doesn't well. Oh, I need to perfect this a bit. Maybe I need to do this or do that. Treat it the same as football. Where I think a lot of content creators probably who haven't been an athlete or don't have that same work ethic. Like I'll be like, I got to pump video every day, cool. Because if I was being a footballer right now, what would I be doing? Training every day. It's the same for me. It's the same thing, but I've just applied it to content creation. Like I could easily bang out 4 or 5 videos in a day. Easy. Like I could easily go. I remember. I'll take you back to one of the viral videos that I had, and the day throughout it, right? So we went Wanderers game, right? Me and the cameraman. I think it was Mardi Gras. Right, Mardi Gras. I was like, you want to go Mardi Gras? He was like, yeah. You want to go Wanderers game, Sydney FC, whatever. I was like, let's shoot content there. Let's do fan interviews and see how it goes. So bang, went to the Wanderers game. Captured that content there. Bish, bash, bosh. After the game, got fan interviews. And I was like, it's Mardi Gras. We've already been shooting for, bear in mind, we've been shooting for like 3 hours. I was like, it's Mardi Gras. You want to go Oxford Street? He's like, I'm a bit tired. I was like, let's go. It's Mardi Gras, but we got to go. Bang, over to Oxford Street, shooting 2-3 hours there. So that's like 5 hours in total shooting content. But I think I got about 2-3 viral videos, over 1 million, 2 million on one of those clips.
You got to be in the pursuit, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to be in the pursuit. And it's like, if I had gone, I'm tired after the Wanderers game. You know what? We already shot one video. That's fine. I would have never got the Mardi Gras one. And then one brand that approached to work with me was like, we saw the video you did on Mardi Gras. Can you kind of do that with this? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, I'm like, all right, always create, because I'm applying the same work ethic that I did with football.
Who do you have to call you out on your own shit though sometimes? Because I have people that in my circle that call me out and they're like, Frankie, you are not taking enough activity, bruv. Like, you need to scale up.
Do more. Probably my brothers. Like, my brother lives in London. My brothers live in London, and they see what all I'm doing. And the London mindset is very, 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 very harsh, very, very realistic, very, very like cutthroat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, humble me in a sense, like in terms of like, yeah, Dan, whatever you're doing all right in Australia, but you could be doing this. You know what I mean? You have the potential now, like, to do this.
Yeah.
So like, that's where my mind, I'm not gassed by all this like attention and stuff like that. I'm very, very humble with it. Like, I try and stay very, very normal. You know what I mean? And for me, in my mind, and I know how some of my followers might see it differently, in my mind, I'm fucking just a basic, normal guy, right, who happened to jump behind the camera one day and people thought I was funny. That's how I see it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So whenever I meet people or whatever, and I'll never ever not have time for someone that wants to talk to me about their content or where they want to do, or maybe they want to get into content creation, or what should I do on TikTok or whatever, because I'll tell you what I did and maybe what you should apply. Who knows? You could be bigger than me one day.
But you have to find, this is one thing that that's kind of sat with me, is that when I started podcasting, I looked at some of the other creators, and you, unbeknownst to you at the time, you start to imitate their style, and that happened with one or two early episodes, and I'm like, fuck, hold on a minute, that's not you, bro. Bring that back and be you. So like, all I'd say to any content creators out there, anyone who's trying to create content, or anyone that sees your content or sees what I'm trying to do, or sees, is your whole responsibility is to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing, bro, because especially when you're starting off, you got to realize you get inspiration from everyone else. So when you start, you might just make a video that's like someone else, but you didn't even realize it was like someone else just because they inspired you. And I always say, and I was lucky, or you know what I did realize is I found the niche now, which...
Your niche.
My niche.
Yeah. And
you have to have a niche, and like people that want to become content creators, or maybe someone's listening to this and they want to be a content creator, I'm very harsh, and I say, why the fuck would people listen? Like, why would people watch you? Like, why?
Yeah, what makes that content?
What makes you, like, you got to think about TikTok, and maybe people listen to this that love TikTok. You think about yourself when you're consuming the content of, when you're watching it. Me, 1-2 seconds. Oh, fuck. 1, 2. Oh, this is kind of funny. So why? What made you stay? What made you stay for that couple 2 seconds? Oh, that hook at the start, or was it the background, or was it the fact that he was standing there, or was that's what got your attention? Why don't you apply that to what you're doing now? You know what I mean? And that's how I see it. And it's like, then, like we're talking about, find your niche. So what type of people relate to you? For me, I've tapped into a market which I didn't know was a market, is the people that have transitioned from England to Australia. I had no clue that that was a market there, but I've tapped into that because half of my followers, or a lot of them, hey, I moved from England, or hey, I'm trying to move from England, or I saw what you did in Australia. How did I do this? Oh, I'm Australian. I'm trying to move to the UK. Do you have any? So I'm lucky that I've tapped into that market now, and I know that's my market. So what I will do is I'll make content around that. Australians, English people moving from Australia.
Differences between.
So I'll make content around that, which is smart because that's the area that I've tapped into now. And it's like you got to find what your niche is or what your passion is or whatever it is, and try and tap into that niche that hasn't been done before. Like I said, I can't give you the specifics because for me, I didn't say, oh, this is the niche. I stumbled upon it and I realised from early that was the niche. But
the only way you stumble upon anything that you're trying to stumble upon, it's like I'm still trying to stumble upon what's going to make this podcast go bang in terms of like a real bang. I'm still trying to stumble on that myself. Right, but guess what? It may happen at the 100th rep. It may happen at the 150th rep. But I'll find it. But the only way you're gonna fucking find it is if you continue to innovate and iterate and kind of really try. How much shit can I throw at that wall? You know what I'm saying? How many times can I try? Because you're gonna get knocked down. Like a lot of people in here might want success in business, want success in their mindset, want success in all the stuff that you're talking about. But it's like how much you actually willing to try, and how much you're actually willing to fail, and how much you're actually willing to get back up to get it done.
And the failure thing is really, really where you'll see like your character and stuff like that, like how many times are you willing to actually fail and before something happens, or how many times are you willing to just stick at it and before any results? Do you stop after the third time it doesn't work? Do you stop after the fifth? Do you stop after the 10th? Like how many times are you willing not to
how have you refined your mindset to get over that?
For me, in terms of, because when we're content creators, what do we look at? Views. We look at views, we look at engagement, we look at all of that. And yes, it is frustrating, or I still struggle with it to this day, where I throw something up and I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. Like 5 comments or not that many likes or whatever. But for me, you know what I've learned? I've learned to be like, if you find it funny, Dan, if you think it's good content, throw it up there. Yeah, that's what. Because at the end of the day, when you started with like 3K followers, why did those 3K follow you? Because whatever you put up, they thought it was good. So you just got a bigger audience. If it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. Just put it up there. At the end of the day, you can say I thought it was good, and that's how I validate it. I validate it by what I think of it.
This is something that's so critical as well as a content creator like yourself, is like, make stuff that you actually want to make, because so many people make stuff for algorithms, make stuff because that content bangs. Like there's so many women out there that post photos of their ass because that's what gets engagement, but that's not the content that they want to make.
Oh yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I think I was having this conversation not with a girl that I was seeing previously, and she said, "Oh, I want to be a stylist," or I was doing a stylist, and she was a really good stylist. But I was like, "What does your page tell me about yourself? What does your Instagram page tell me? Does it tell me that you're a stylist? You've got it in your bio, but all I'm seeing is pictures of you, like whatever, out, prerogative, like looking beautiful, good. But does that tell me that you're a stylist? If I'm a businessman scrolling on your page right now and I want to maybe get you to be my stylist, where's the stuff that you styled?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have this outfit. This is the guy that I styled, bish, bash, bosh. This outfit. And she's like, oh, but it's my personal page. I don't know. I'm like, well, who gives a fuck?
See, this is...
You know what I'm saying?
This is where people get it twisted. I put a lot of other people on my personal page because I'm trying to be known as a good conversationist, as a good podcaster, that's what I'm trying to be known for. Yeah. So, like, if I'm trying to be known for that, having a picture of me sat at fucking Burley Pav, it ain't. What does it do?
It doesn't do it.
It doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. And we're in the age now where whatever you do, your Instagram should tell me. I should be, or whatever you're doing. If you're a fucking barber, if you want to be a singer, if you want to be working at whatever you want to do, your Instagram page as a brand, I will tell you. It tells me everything I need to know about you. Yeah. Everything that I want to see, I should be able to see. If you're into fashion, if you're a model, I should be able to go to your Insta or your TikTok or whatever and say, oh, This is the content you create. Oh, you're a singer. Oh, let me see you singing. Oh, you're an actor. Oh, let me see some of the scripts that you've put up there. Oh, this is you acting. Oh, okay, cool. Like, I should be able to see it. I shouldn't go, same thing with football athletes. I should see everything. It's like, I shouldn't go to your page and you say you're a stylist or you're an actress or you're this is what you want to do, and all I'm seeing is like pictures of you and the girls out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you need that private Insta, but that's how I see it, if that's what you want to do.
See, Instagram as a platform to me, all it is for me is a tool that allows me to get my podcast out to more people, right? It's a tool, right?
Yeah.
For me, I mean, to be honest, I mute everybody now. Like, except a few select people like yourself and this, that, and the other. So I'll see your content, drop a like on it, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to unfollow anyone because that's when everyone gets offended. But like, I mute everybody because at the end of the day, I just need to go onto the platform, post, and get off the platform because I'm not there to consume. I'm not there to consume. I'm there to put value into the world. I'll put value into the world, add value to your life. But I don't want to consume. I don't want to consume your night out. Or do you know what I mean? Like that when you're 6 beers deep.
Yeah, again, it just depends what you want to do. Like, what do you say you want to do? And that's the only thing. If you say, listen, I don't care about being a creator. Like, I just want to have fun on Instagram. Cool. But if you say, I want to be this, and this, and you know, and then you go look at someone else that's a podcaster or a footballer or a content creator, what is their page showing you? It's showing you what they do. And I think what it is, and then I had this conversation with this guy. He's huge on TikTok. His name's Kev. He won't mind me saying, but he's got like 500-600K on TikTok, and I'm like, and his Instagram's like a couple thousand. And he's like, oh, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, bro, you've not fucking posted on your Instagram. Like, why are you not posting every single content that you're taking from TikTok? Put it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
So people can see you're not just funny on both. Because what they'll do is they'll see you're funny on TikTok. They'll click on your Insta. There's pictures of you.
Yeah.
They're not going to follow you.
It's not congruent.
It's not congruent with what you are. And I remember, and I had that early because I remember someone saying it to me when I was like, my Insta was just football. Like, it was just like football stuff, but my TikTok was all funny videos. Like,
yeah, but
when you probably first followed me, that's probably what was happening.
Because I remember early days. I sent you some a DM. I'm sure I sent you a DM.
Yeah.
Early days. Way before you were fucking sending it.
Yeah.
You'd had a video about and then you did a video that after I'd known you for a little while, you did a video. Fucking the best video you've ever done, in my opinion.
Oh,
right?
The
Australians runners.
Oh, yeah,
that was my favourite.
Is that which one was that? I've done a few.
You were sat in the car, and it's like every Australian thinks they're a professional runner.
Oh yeah, that one got picked up by Daily Mail. Everything, yeah, that one went crazy.
That was
purely. I shit you not. Like, I just finished coaching in the morning, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, bro, I got every morning I'm getting up at 6 a.m. and I'm like, bro, it's old man. How you doing, mate? How you going? Bro, what are you doing? Then I see another friend. How you doing? How you going? I see a group of them, and I'm like, every single day, I'm like, bro, these lot are actually
athletes.
What's wrong with these lot? And then I just that was the first thing that just came. First preparation, that was it. Like, purely from
when I saw that video, I saw that was just shot in one raw take. Yeah. It was just your thoughts of that moment, and that's why it worked. Because if you've been English and you've moved to Australia, it's like people here think getting up early is like 7-8 o'clock. Right? In Australia, like everyone's up at like 4. They're
going for a run. 5 a.m., 6 a.m. runs. Like, I'm like, what?
60-year-olds look like 40-year-olds.
Yeah,
like,
they are really
healthy.
Hats off to them. They are in shape, man. They are really in shape. It doesn't stop, and I think it's probably just living next to the beach, isn't it? Whereas, like in England, like everyone just really grinds for the summer. Yeah, you know what I mean, like, well, in winter, like no one really going gym like early, and like you might miss a couple workouts or whatever. But in Australia, I feel like because they live near the beach,
you have to be an athlete.
You have to be. Everyone's in shape. Everyone's in shape.
Yeah, it's literally like you stand out if you're not in shape.
Oh, exactly. You look horrible. See everyone else with their abs at Bondi Beach. You're like, bro, no, I need to get in the gym. You know? So yeah, that's what it's like out there. But yeah, that's when I was, like I said, the transition over, right? where I realized when is like, again, you've got to take that content and it across all your social platforms, it has to be, the message has to be the same,
congruent,
congruent, and that's how you just grow and grow and grow and grow, man.
It's like I went to see Jamie Alderton for a podcast a few days ago. I was down in Bognor Regis because he lives there, of all the places.
Oh, jeez, that's a pop.
That's a 3.5 hour drive, but it's worth it. Jamie Alderton smashed it on TikTok. He's got like 800k on TikTok, going to be 1 million soon. Like he smashed it. But he looked at my thing and he's like, Frankie, look, you need call out titles here. Yeah. This needs to all be congruent here. This needs to all be same color scheme. Yeah. This is how you're going to stand out in your net. And he gave me some fucking phenomenal advice. And it's like, you have to be open to be criticised by these top players in the game to inch your content a little, like that 0.1% forward.
Yeah, you've always got to be willing to take on
and not get offended.
Yeah, take on information, take on advice and everything. I'm always open to that, especially like when people, especially my type boys, I try and think, like, what do you lot think of this? Like, do you lot think this funny? Or they'll give me feedback on, you know what, you sounded a bit too much Aussie on that. Yeah, you need to sound a bit more British and stuff like that. So I'll always take in
because your niche is the British perspective on Australian life.
Yes.
You know, so if you go a bit too Aussie,
it's like, come on, it's
like,
still British.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, the funny thing is the Aussies love that.
Yeah.
So it's like finding the balance, you know what I mean? Because the Aussies are like, oh, he's finally one of us now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you've got to really find the balance of still staying British, but like feeding the Aussies what they need. Yeah.
No, mate, you've smashed it. But I saw you as the face of JD.
Hey, we'll leave them. We'll just not talk about that one. I'm trying to stay humble with it.
Mate, you're in every store, ain't you?
Yeah,
you're in every store.
It's still weird. I walked. I remember, where was I? I was in Melbourne, and I walked into the store. I done a funny video or whatever, but it was still weird to me to walk into the store and see like a 7. Like I was like, I'm not 6'2". The thing was like 10 foot. And it was like of me in the store, and I was like, nah, that's mad.
See, you're never going to see a bald geezer be the face of JD.
You might not get them deals.
Yeah, I'm not getting no fucking deals with JD, bro.
You never know.
I'm the wrong demographic. But when I saw you as this poster boy, I'm like, go on, son.
Yeah, I was buzzing. Hopefully the first of many. I ain't done many gigs like that. That's my first one, so I was proper buzzing. I still had to pinch myself. I was like, what? It's just weird. It's just proper weird to see yourself there. It's like, what? That's me. Yeah, definitely.
But what's kind of the goal in the next couple of years for you in kind of everything you're building?
Me, I think the goal is to get on TV. Hopefully, have some sort of show where I'm presenting or hosting. And I can be myself, be my own personality.
You gonna give me an invite?
Yeah, sure. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, you bet, bro. If you fucking
of course.
If you forget about me, just,
oh my god, I can't forget the day ones. Come on, bro. Hopefully something like that where I'm on TV, I'm hosting. I'd love to have like my own like show where like I could just go through funny bits that happen in Australia or funny things that happen in and around, and just like talk shit about it and just be myself and have guests on or whatever. Like I'd love to do something like that. So that's kind of my goal. That's the route I'm going down, the presenting route where I can just have a personality as well. So
yeah, just by creating content, you can put yourself in the position where you can just get paid for being yourself, and that is the most powerful thing about content that people don't understand.
It is an insane feeling. It's a very very strange feeling for someone to be like, a brand to go, oh listen, we want you to make this video, I'm going to pay you X amount, and we just want you to just do it how you do it.
Yeah.
You just want me to just do how I normally do it? Yeah, just do it how you do it, maybe add this in and do that, and then say this and that, and there you go.
Yeah.
And then there's your money.
And how much has the money gone up in terms of what you're getting per video these days compared to?
Oh, they're definitely going up. I mean, I don't know if I want to say figures really, but you can earn a very, very lucrative amount to a point where, like I said, full time. You can do it full time if you get enough of it, if build enough of a following, build enough of the brands, how much you charge, depending on your numbers, your interaction, all that kind of thing. Like I had a brand reach out to me from like Poland. Like I had a random brand because they wanted to reach an Australian audience, and they were like, "Oh, we charge this." I was like, "Bet," you know what I mean? So it's like it could be from anywhere in the world. I was on a call yesterday from a company in Australia that wants me to work with them about some finance things. So it's like you can do it anywhere in the world because really all you're doing is jumping behind the camera and creating the video. You know what I mean? So it's really one of those jobs. You don't really think about it, but like once you've built an audience, to say you've built an audience in Australia, you built an audience wherever, like wherever you are in the world, you can create that content.
Yeah,
and it can go to that audience.
Yeah,
like you don't need to be in Australia. You don't have to be in England. If you
what are you now? 70% Australian audience.
Yeah. 70% Australian, 30% I think it's 20% UK, and then 10% like US and Ireland and some random places. But yeah, man, like most of it's in Australia, which is why I've got to keep building in Australia. Really, like it's crazy to me because like I think 300k. Like when I go out. Right, in Melbourne or Sydney, always get stopped for pictures and things like that. But like in my head, you never really think about how much like 300k is or whatever. Like I always think, if I had 1 million followers,
it's 3 times Wembley, bro.
Yeah, you don't really, you just think, 300k.
It's absolutely, that's like probably about 220, 230,000 Australian people that follow you, that know, like, and love what you do.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, so you don't really think about it. But then what I've noticed is, like, it's more than that. You know why? Because you've got that amount of followers, but the amount of people that have seen a video that you've posted.
Yeah, the impressions.
Like 2 times. Like I've had, like, I've got 15 million likes. So
there's probably like at least 500,000 or maybe even close to a million people that recognise your face from somewhere.
From somewhere, which is what I don't think about. I'm like, 300k is all right.
And don't forget that's in a demographic between the age of say 18 and 25, 26.
Yeah.
So then you add in, there might only be like 3 or 4 million people in Australia that. So that's 1 in 4 that know your face from somewhere. Yeah. They might not know you by name. Yeah. They might not fuck with your content, but they've seen your face
somewhere.
So that just tells you that you got 25% of the audience of that age demographic in that country. So when you go to fucking these venues, no wonder the people are coming up.
Yeah, it doesn't really sink in until.
And when me and you come back here, because obviously my following's more Australian too. It's like when you come back here, it's really hard to deal with the fact of like you got to start from scratch again.
Yeah, you're starting from scratch. Everyone's got everyone's got who they have over here. Everyone's built their content over here, who they listen to, and it's definitely harder. It's definitely harder to stand out here.
Well, the beauty. We got English accents. We're from different walks of life. We got we come from more of a harder upbringing, so to speak, compared to schooling and stuff. So we got a point of difference over there. Whereas here, we're just competing with next man.
Yeah, we're just competing with the next guy, which is for me it's been good, and which is why I needed to come back for this long, or I'm going back in August. But it's eye-opening for me, and I'm also going to learn off these people. You know what I mean? So I'm also going to learn off, like, if I ever get to meet, like, a Chunks, a Philly, or Specs Gonzalez, Harry Panera, all these guys that are at the top of their games in England who everyone knows. Like, all right, cool. Like, why do people fuck with them? Like, what are they like in person? Okay, cool. Like, if I get to meet them, can I sit down and have, even if we don't even make content, just one piece of advice? You know, I was lucky enough to work with the F2, who are huge in England. Jeremy Lynch, I was lucky enough to, like, and even Billy Wingrove, lucky enough to have moments with them where it was just me and them for like 10 minutes. And I was able to extract information from them, and like these guys that have been in the game content creating for the last 10 odd years. And I was like, oh, and I took on what they said. I didn't even like, Jeremy said to me, he was like to me, because when we both went out, he's obviously way bigger than me, but more people were stopping me than they were stopping him, and he was like to me, you've got something special out here. He was like, and I was like, yeah, but I've only got like 200k. He was like, bro, it doesn't matter how many followers you've got, like, these people,
they love you.
They love you. He's like, you basically need to And what he said to me is like, don't do. He said something that stuck with me for in my mind. He said to me, don't. He was like, Olan, what would you do? How would you move right now if you had like 3 million followers on TikTok and Instagram? He was like, how would you move? And I was like, probably wouldn't do that. Probably wouldn't do that. Probably wouldn't be doing this and that. He's like, you need to move like that right now. So I was like, right.
So what are some of the things? So what are some of the things that you identify that you would take out?
He was like, no, for me it was like more so with girls and moving a bit reckless when I'm out, or not even moving reckless, but just being a bit not crazy, but just like being all over the place. He was like, how would you move? Like, what would you change? How would you structure yourself if you knew every single piece of information that you were sending out into the world?
Yeah.
Could be used against you in a couple of years' time if you get big or whatever.
Yeah.
How would you move?
Yeah.
What would you do differently? And I was like, oh shit, yeah. It's just like, be very, very careful because you could go there.
Yeah.
And then something you've done 3-4 years ago could absolutely ruin you or cancel you or whatever. You don't know. You know what I mean? But you're just navigating through life. It was like, just think about that, how you would move now. And I was like, oh shit, nah, true, I'll change this and change that maybe.
It's funny you say that. I went to Portsmouth to see my mate Luke, who's a manager for like James Smith and people like that. So he's fucking a high level events guy, fucking absolute wizard of a business guy. And he's like, "Oh, what's your plans, Frankie?" I'm like, I'm thinking of fucking off back to Australia. To be honest, like, I want to fuck off back to Australia. He's like, "Let me tell you something. If you go back to Australia tomorrow, at the time that you're planning on going back to Australia, would you be happy with the activity levels that you put in the UK and the amount of podcasts that you've done?" I'm like, nah. Yeah. And he's like, so do you fucking think then that going back to Australia is the right idea right now, or do you think you should fucking start getting more podcasts booked in?
Yeah.
Like, what's your fucking excuse, Frankie?
Yeah.
Why haven't you got fucking more podcasts booked in? How many you done? I've done 4. Well, fucking, why haven't you done 8?
Yeah.
Why haven't you done 12? Like, come on, man, level up your game.
Yeah.
I left that meeting. I booked 5 podcasts, bro.
Yeah.
I booked 5 straight away because it's like, because I was too busy feeling fucking sorry for myself in terms of like, oh, this is harder now. It's like I was too busy for that than to go out and put activity into the world. The difference between you and what you want in life is fucking activity. Yeah. It's activity levels. That's it.
You've got and a consistency as well. You know, consistency is key, and I know it sounds cliche and it sounds like you've heard it a million times, but I've put out a video on TikTok every day for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I was I doing it intentionally? No, I was just doing it because I just enjoyed it, and I was like, whatever video. But then it's like, cause
you get momentum.
And you just like, I'm gonna chuck out this video. I'm gonna keep chucking out, and it becomes a habit. It does become a habit after a year or 3-4 months. But that is consistency. Even if I hadn't got to where I am now, and say I was making cooking videos, or say I was making videos about whatever, if I had put out a video on whatever subject it is on TikTok, I can guarantee you now, if I put out a video on whatever subject it might be, lawyer, education, whatever, for 2 years, every single day, you're telling me I wouldn't have 100k followers, you're telling me I wouldn't have 50k, you're telling me one of those videos wouldn't have gone crazy, one of those videos wouldn't have gone viral. Again, there's different variables and everything, but I think again,
the one variable that you can control is your activity level.
Is your activity level
and your attitude.
Your activity and your attitude, and again, it goes back to the same thing. Like, focus on what you can control.
And that's why I kind of muted a lot of people, because it's like, I don't want to be taking inspiration from other people anymore. It's like, I know enough now. I've been in the game long enough. I've done fucking however. I don't need to be taking inspiration from others. I need to be focusing on like myself and creating cultivating that style and cultivating what works for me. Yeah. And I think it gets to a point when you're creating content at any level where you're taking too much inspiration from those around you, and it starts to take away from actually the stuff that would bang for you because you came up with it yourself.
Yeah, right. I'll even touch on that as well. Like, do I go on because a lot of these people might be on TikTok as well. I don't go on the For You page. Don't look at it.
Yeah.
Like when I was starting, maybe I was scrolling a little bit, but again, it goes back to the fact that because I feel that I'm the content creator, I'm giving out the content. I can't be scrolling on that for like an hour. I'm not going to get inspiration from that.
See, Jay Alderton looks at it to see what content to make to make what pop more. But then I'm of a different opinion. I'm of like, well, yeah, but if you look at that, then you're being influenced by what you think will pop and not what you want to create.
The only thing that where he might be heading on, especially with TikTok, is the trends, right? So you need to kind of know what's trending, because then what I'll do is I'll take a trend and I'll put my own spin on it. Like I done one.
Yeah, that's probably what he means.
I done one the other day where it was like she's a 10, but whatever, you know what I mean? And I saw everyone doing that. I was like, all right, cool, let me just put something funny on that and put my own spin on it and put it out there, and it did well because it's trending and I've just added my own personality to it, you know what I mean? That's the only thing on TikTok that I will look at and do, maybe a trend here, a trend there, but how I've built my platform, and everybody's different, yeah, and I can't give you something that applies specifically to you because everyone's different, but how I built my platform is not on looking on what everyone else is doing or following trends or I done it put specifically on how I'm feeling at that time, and that was me personally because I'm a personality. So it depends on how you build your platform or how you do it. Where do you get your inspiration from? But that's not to say that I don't get my inspiration from other people, because I subconsciously didn't realize, but I like the art of conversation. Like I really enjoy deep conversations or listening to people have deep conversations. Like I'll put on a podcast, Joe Rogan, for like 2 to 3 hours just because how he's mastered the art of conversation. Even if it's not funny or whatever, excuse me, if it's not funny or whatever, he's mastered the art of how to make someone listen to you for like 3 hours. Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
most of my podcasts are like an hour 45, 2 hours.
Just, like. That's even going beyond that. Going beyond the hour, to have someone listen to you for that long or to be more engaged in you takes a certain level of mastery, of understanding, of keeping the conversation flowing, and that's what I'm trying to master, as well as the funny stuff and all the other stuff. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, like with podcasts and that. There's a lot of podcasts that do question answers. The reason I keep this as a conversation and integrate the questions into the conversation rather than just being question answer, and you plan shit is because then that's naturally nicer to listen to and you get more value, and it's more real. It's more real content rather than you can listen.
Bang question.
Yeah, mate. It's just like, otherwise it's just another fucking business podcast that kind of doesn't really. If I was listening to one, I wouldn't want to listen to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, you do what works for you, man, and that's the biggest thing you can do, and that's the reason why I think, like I said, I respect your content. I love your content. I love what you've been doing. I've been following you for a while, so we followed each other from time back, you know. And I love the mindset stuff. Not a lot of people are doing.
Well, I just wanted people to understand more about you, because like you've been on a lot of funny podcasts where you put out a lot of funny stuff, but it's like, you know, what work do you put in behind it? You know, what reps is Daniel doing? Like, what's he considering? Or what's he been through? Like, you know, what's it like coming from fucking Luton? What's the realness behind this? Because I don't think you do podcasts like this.
I don't. And people that are listening will probably get, like I said, you're probably getting a different side of me, which is good, because I feel like you need to understand all aspects of someone to really take in who they are, or take in what worked for them, or maybe I told them some story that they didn't know. Oh, Olan did that, or okay, he went that, or okay, but maybe I can take that 1% that he just said there and apply it to this, you know. So I'm all for that, man. I think you should always have like different aspects to your personality, man. It's huge, and it's just like. It's just being open and vulnerably honest with, like, okay, well, this worked for me in my life here and this didn't. It's like, you know, there's a lot of vulnerability in that. I mean, fucking some of the shit that I've talked about on this podcast, mate, like early days and recent times and all that stuff, like, and just what I'm going through and that in relation to what I'm doing, mate, there's some power in that vulnerability as well. You have to, because it's real shit, man. It's like, okay, you know, I'm struggling here right now, you know. It's like, you know, we all go through it because and
with this content game, like you're in, like I'm in, different sides of the game, obviously, it's like, mate, it's fucking hard to get up every day to try and kick this can down the road, when sometimes it's like, fucking hell, like, you know, why am I not getting 100k downloads per episode?
Yeah, it is. The numbers thing is that's the biggest thing we look at as content creators, is the whole numbers thing. And it's, I still do the whole thing where I'm comparing followers and comparing this guy, and like, why the hell I see a video and I'll be like, this guy's got, why has this done 1 million views? Like, this is shit content. Why has this done 1 million views? Or like, this is not even funny. Like, I could do this.
See, you know what that is, right? You know, when you say it's shit content, that's your ego, though, because it's got 1 million views because other people's opinions where it's good content, right? Exactly,
and that's the whole thing we'll get in. And that's the downfall of my bad side as a content creator, is comparing the views and the followers and all of that. But really, like, I'll get into a moment where I look at someone and then I'll have to like almost slap myself and say, shut up, Dan, you're on your own journey. This is your journey. You know what I mean? This is you. So what if he's got this amount? This is your journey. You're different to him. You know what I mean? And I have to pull myself back in.
You don't know. You also don't know when you're looking from the outside in. You don't know. You know, he might have been doing it for 4 years to hit 1 million, and you're at 220 after 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and you know how it all compounds and how it all grows. It's like, you know, you are in the place for the amount of reps that you've done and the amount of time you've put into your craft. It's as simple as that. Hopefully in fucking 3 years from now, I'll be in a hell of a lot different position to what I am now. And I fucking should be, because of the reps and the perfecting my craft, right? Same with you. It's like we as creators, so to speak, look in too small a time frame. And I think humans in general look in too small a time frame.
One quick turnaround.
Mate, nothing good ever happens in less than 5 years. Nothing good. Nothing that's mate,
longevity.
Nothing that can give you what me and you are both seeking. I feel, from talking to you on and off the podcast, it's like what me and you are both seeking can't be achieved in less than 5 years, because you're not going to get the fulfillment from it. You're not going to get everything you want out of it. You're not going to be able to create those constant streams of cash flow on the back of doing something you're actually passionate about. You'll be on TV in another 2-3 years time. But or maybe even next 6 months, but that's took years to get there. It's just like a constant thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. We do want the short term thing. We do want the quick turnaround. You know, after not putting in enough reps.
Let me ask you something, right? So, my mate called me out on this the other day, like these dating apps like Hinge and that. Because you go on them, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, you'll swipe through now.
But he was like, Frankie, fuck that off, man. Like, go everything into this fucking podcast, mate. You're on the verge. You're on the fucking verge of something. Yeah. Like, go everything in. Do your mates call you out on that? Kind of like, and like say to you, like, do you know what, man? Like, just fully concentrate. Because I do find that kind of shit.
What, like women or
just like
women or dating apps?
Women, dating apps. It all takes attention away from what you're meant to be creating, right?
For me, I think, it took me a while to realize this. Obviously, after my ex and stuff, and maybe I was sort of seeing girls here and there since I've been doing this content creation thing, right? And I realized that I have to be single. Like, I have to be, because number one is, I physically can't put in enough time into a relationship right now when I'm trying to build this giant. Yeah. You know, and that's where, unless a girl can come into my life that will understand that, listen, man, like, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm going for, and I've got this big dream where this is what I'm doing, and I can't stop until my mum's like 50 grand. Mum, there's 50 grand. Yeah, that's when I'm stopping. That's when I can relax. Until then, this is my grind. Right? And if you understand that, then cool. If not, I'm going to just have to be single. And that's the mindset. And that's what I've learned, because I've tried to do the other thing where I can kind of give something to someone, and I've realized that they just don't understand that this is what I'm doing.
Mate, I had a.
It sounds bad, but that's
there was one point in this podcast where I went through like a month or 5 weeks not putting out content in the middle of some of this early doors, like between 35 and 45 episodes, something around there. And it was all to do with my headspace, because I'd been around this chick and my headspace had gone off, and do you know what I mean? Dramas was happening over here and all this stuff. And it was like, I fucking realised, fuck me, this is sucking the life out of me. Like, I need to be careful where I place my energy and attention. Like, I would love a nice supportive missus on the back end, or like supporting
Don't
me.
get me wrong, it's lovely.
Like, that's nice, man, because then it's another thing you don't have to fucking think about.
Yeah.
Innit? Do you know what I mean? It's nice to have. Like, I'm not being funny. When you're a foreign geezer in another
you get bags of attention.
Not that. When you're a foreign guy in someone else, you've walked into someone else's country to build a life. Yeah. It could be fucking lonely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying.
100%. It gets lonely, because you got to think. For me, and I went through. That's why I went through the depression stage a little bit before the whole content creation kicked off. Like, when I broke up with my ex, I wouldn't say I was depressed. I would just say like I was down. Broke up with my ex. I'd been with her a year in lockdown. Right. Best friends get married. I missed it. So, you know what I mean? So all those three things, broke up with my girl. Yeah. We're in lockdown for like 3 months. Best friend's about to get married. And I'm just like, like, should I just go home? Maybe this is the end for me. Maybe this is a sign that I just need to pack it up and go home.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, those, you can get super lonely, because all your day, like really and truly, like all your day ones, like you make friends in Australia, and I've made fucking really good mates in Australia through football, which I'm really, really grateful about. But your day ones
are from where you grew up.
From the ends, or from Luton, or from that's my day ones. Like 10 years deep, like day ones, like know me inside out, can tell you jokes of me in fucking secondary school. Like,
and you can't
replicate that.
Yeah,
you know. So it does get lonely, because it's like when you make those friends in Australia and stuff like that, and you build bonds and stuff like that. But I don't think it will ever be the same as like a day one from back home, you know. Some people just end up taking their best friend out to Australia with them or something, you know what I mean? Something like that. And that's why when you do find a girl, I think you lean on them more. Yeah. Because it's like you've got the lads are there, don't get me wrong, you've got the boys, but that now you've got another person who you actually connect with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you did with the boys or whatever back home. So now it's like, all right, you two can kind of.
It's always worried me though about settling down in Australia though, because like I think to myself,
do I want to?
Well, it's not just do you want to. It's like I'm open to like that happening in the future, whatever. Yeah. I'm open. I'm not shutting that off. I'm just saying, like, for me on a personal level, it's like, well, say you got no family network, bro. You got no it progresses to a point where you get married and then you have children and that. Then what? Two of the kids' grandparents aren't there. It's like fucking up. Trying to get my head around that dynamic is like fucking mad.
It's like her family's there, but your family's in the UK. So that's the whole thing. You know, that is very true, and I've always thought that to myself. Like, I'd want my mum and my brothers and stuff to like be able to see the fam, and I don't want to be flying all the way. You know, that's the only dynamic.
I know it sounds like it's a bit more down the track, but it's like you can't help but as a lad at the kind of age that me and you're going into, you can't help but think like that. You know what I mean?
You have to think about it.
You don't want to be fucking single your whole life on the train, like or do you know what I mean? I don't know, like it's just kind of a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult one. I've definitely one that I'm going through, but I tend to float towards British chicks as well in Australia, which is weird, isn't it?
I think it's because.
What about you? Yeah, similar or not really?
Look, look.
He doesn't want to go too deep into it.
I've had a hell of a career, mate. I'll tell you. Over the years,
300 caps, you know.
It's
You've been around, seasoned pro.
Mate, I've had a few scenarios in my time, but I like. There's it depends what kind of part of the season I'm in, depending on where you're going. But look, I will say this though, with because British chicks have such good banter. Like that's why I love how British girls, because like they just get like because we're brought up having, I don't know about you, but I have a filthy sense of humor. So I say the most inappropriate shit to people, and they take it offensively. Like some women can take in Australia can take it offensively, like you're trying to like sexualize them or something like.
Oh, you're trying to offend them or something or like that.
But it's like, you know what I mean? Like I remember when I first went out to Australia and I was on this. I was like I thought I was the boy and all that, and I just called some bird sugar tits, right?
Oh, God.
And it's just that to me is just banter, bro.
That's
just banter.
In Australia,
but she came at me, bro. Like she wanted to row, like, and I'm like, hang on a minute. I didn't expect to get my double jab out in Broadbeach. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, nah. I remember when I said something on a night out to two birds from, I think they were from Manly. Have you heard of Manly? So like Northern Beaches area, and they were like sitting on our table or something. And I said something to them, and they got super offended. But I said something jokey, like they were like both friends, and I said, I said something jokey, 30 like battery, and they both lost at me, and I was like, bruv, you lot can fuck off. I'm like, it's not that deep, bro. What are you crying about? Like, it's a joke. And even the lads were like, oh, mate, sorry, mate. They're just like that. And I was like, it's not even that deep.
But you have to be so careful how, because and Aussie girls, if you're listening to this, just lock your ears in on this. Yeah. England is a competitive marketplace, so we have to hit at pace and be funny and on point. And you have to. It's such a competitive marketplace. You have to go in. You have to go in
100 miles, not 100 miles an hour, but you got to go in 100% with confidence and banter and authenticity and all that kind of stuff. You like,
and even when you got all that working, you can still get rejected massively, 100%. And you've still got to get up and you've got to do it again.
You got to go again and again. Rejection, but we move. 100%.
And that's why, like, I remember being in the gym in the Gold Coast, right?
Oh, you approach in the gym. That's dangerous, man.
But the thing is, you'd approach. You say that it's dangerous, right?
I could never do in the gym, but
you'd have done in the gym here.
In the gym, like the most I'll do is like I'll give her that in the gym. In the gym, I'll like give her a look or whatever, and then that's about it. Because gym's hard one, bro.
It is hard. It is.
You're moving,
but gym's extra especially hard in Australia.
Yeah, because it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
like they're not actually there for mandem. Like they're not there. They're not there to find a guy.
Yeah.
Like in the UK one, you might find a girl that's like their posy. The Australian one, they're there for that summer bod. Like they're there. You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck about men in the Australian gym.
See, imagine this then. So I've just arrived. I've been there like 4 weeks, and I full on like hit the hottest chick in the gym. I full on just hit her at pace, bro. And she fucking looked at me, and she's like,
that's confidence.
And she. I'm still like the closest chick these days, and she just always reminds me about how much pace I hit her at.
What'd you say to her?
Oh man, I can't even say it on the podcast. I can't. It's just I honestly, it was so much.
Did you pull?
No, bro. Bro, honestly, even I cringe at how much pace I hit her with. Like seriously, mate, I literally torched myself. I torched myself.
That's funny, man.
But that's the thing. You see, I hit that at so much pace, and I still can talk about it because of how much a learning lesson that was.
Yeah.
But you got to have these.
No, you've got to learn. You live and you learn.
Give me an example of some times when you've been taken completely out of context in Australia.
Well, we'll go for that time where I told you about those two girls in Manly, I was in Sinaloa or whatever, and then they kicked off when I said something to them, but I can't remember what I said. It was something about, I think it was about them two, like, I was like, oh, you two look like you'd be like a hot couple, like something like that. Like they were
that is mild, bro.
That's what I'm saying, but something like them, about them being like a couple or something, and they were like, that's disgusting. Like, who do you think you are? This, that, and that, and I was like, there is a little bit of the tall poppy thing that goes on in Australia. Tall poppy syndrome.
Where you know, where people can climb on that little bus. But mate, I've got myself in some serious trouble.
I can imagine you have, bro.
Yeah,
I can imagine you have.
Because I've got zero filter sometimes, and I can't help myself sometimes. Sometimes, you know, I've even got this thing. I'm trying to teach myself out of it. Right, I've even got this thing right where I know something I say is going to be outlandish, and I still I still can't help myself.
You got it in your head. You're like, you know what? Just bang, just comes out. I try. You know what? I try to remain. Because I always give advice on like how to talk to girls and like how to approach girls and all that kind of stuff. But
is this the advice you give online? You mean? Yeah, I've seen some of this.
I try to. People want some, so I don't know why. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. But like for me, it's all come naturally. But to be fair, like people say, "Oh, Ola," I'm like, where'd you get all this knowledge from?
Knowledge.
Where'd you get all this knowledge about women from? I'm like, bro, honestly, comes from being friend zoned a lot, mate. So when you get friend zoned, what you got to do?
You got to adapt.
You got to adapt, but what do you do, mate? You got to listen to the woman. Like when you like back in the day, you used to get friends on all the time. But what happened? What I'm lucky now is because like now I can actually listen to a woman talk and like take in what she's talking about.
Yeah. And
then apply it, and then all right, cool. Like she likes this, she likes that. Whereas I feel like if you're a good-looking guy and your whole life and you've never really had to spit game on a woman, like you never really listen to her. You don't really know what she likes.
It still makes me laugh how some men think that they are there to fix a woman's problem when all she wants you to do is just listen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and there's men out,
it's so true.
There's men out there with their 90% of men get their toolbox out and start trying to go and fix shit. And I'm like, bro, she just wants to be heard. Just let her be heard.
She's
like
fucking venting to you.
She's venting. all she wants you to do, mate, just sit there and listen. And you're out there trying to fix shit.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, you should do this and do that and do that. No, just flip and listen.
Mate, you learn this in your apprenticeship in England.
Yeah, facts.
Do you know what I mean?
Facts.
Fucking funny, man.
That's what.
But because Australia was the first place the furthest place from obviously home port that I'd ever been before. So I just didn't realise that at the time. Obviously, when I was in that situation in that first month, that's when I kind of learned. I was like, this is a different arena.
It's a different
so you got to play a different game. So it's kind of you learn a lot about yourself in that environment. But mate, I never thought we'd get into this on the podcast.
It's been good, man. Yeah. I've enjoyed it a lot.
But mate, let's just I want to finish it with this because I think you got a lot of knowledge and a lot of learnings in your mind. But if there was like, mate, if you check out the planet tomorrow, right, and you can't take none of it with you, none of the stuff, but you can just leave a fucking massive pearl of wisdom on the next gen in terms of like what pearl of wisdom would you leave to the next gen
in terms of like words? I would say,
like what like if you had to just leave one piece of golden advice or learning something that would change your life and the trajectory of it by imparting it in yourself, what would it be?
I think it is for me again. It goes back to football, but I always say like learn the art of rejection and then just keep going. You know what I mean? So if you learn how to get rejected and keep pushing and keep doing you and keep, regardless of the results, regardless of if you've moved forward or backwards, I feel like whatsoever you do in life, not eventually will come to pass, but you will see a crack. You know what I mean? You will break through eventually if you can withstand all that rejection. You know what I mean? And that's what football's taught me. That's how I look at life. That's how I apply myself still to this day, you know. So even with women,
I love it, mate. Honestly,
that's how it ended.
That's it, mate. Honestly, I love this podcast, mate. I loved it.
It's been a pleasure, man.
It's been sick having you on. Me and Olan are going to fucking. Me and Dan are going to fucking Nando's now. Yeah, we're going to do a comparison: Australian Nando's to English Nando's. Yeah. So we're going to see how that goes. But guys, do me a solid favour here. If you like this podcast, drop it in a mate's ears, share it with your friends, share it on Instagram. All the love helps us. Drop me in Olan a message. I'll tag him, Olantekkers on Instagram. I'll tag him and all the content as well. Like, it's mad guy, mad vibes, doing some sick stuff, and behind all the banter and all that stuff, like, is a serious guy that's just doing serious things. And I just want to say, mate, I'm really proud of your growth in Australia, because it's been fucking sick to watch, honestly.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate
and
that.
Guys, much love. Tune in, turn on, let's go.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Frankie Lee Podcast.